Okay, next example. A statistics instructor took a sample of 7 of her students and asked them for their age. The ages of the students are given below. We want to find the mean, median, mode, range, variance, and standard deviation for the given data and then use the correct symbols. So let's go ahead and first find the mean of this data set. Now we can add these all up and divide by 7, or what we can do is we can go ahead and then put this information into our calculator. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go to our list. So we're going to hit Stat and then select Edit. And then in column 1, we're going to put in our numbers. So we got 32, 18, 21, 21, 22, 28, and 18. Okay, so if we want to find the mean, then what we can do is, let's exit this screen by hitting second and then the mode button where it says quit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit second and then the stat button where it says list. And then we're going to scroll to the right where it says math and then go all the way down to 5 where it says sum. And then we want to find the sum of column L1. So we're going to hit the second button and then L1, which is 1. So that gives us L1 with the close parenthesis. And then we're going to divide that by 7. And that gives us that result. So therefore, there is your answer. So once we have our answer, we're going to store it and place it into X. So what we're going to say is, here's our answer for the mean. So we have the answer, we hit store, and then put in the solution. So therefore, we know that X is going to represent that number. So from this calculation, we have determined that the mean, or the sample mean, is 22.86 years. Now in step number 2, we want to be able to find the median. In order to find the median, we need to put these numbers in descending order from least to greatest. And when we count up the numbers, we have 7, which is odd. So that means the median is going to be the middle number. So the median is equal to 21 years. Now the mode, we have 2 of them. We have 18, which is repeated twice, and we also have 21, which is repeated twice. So there are 2 modals, being that it's bimodal, and we have 21 and 18 years as the mode. And then for the range, we take the largest number of the data set and subtract the smallest number of the data set. So 32 minus 18 gives us 14 years. So the range is 14 years. And now what we want to do is we want to then now be able to find the variance and the standard deviation. So we can use our calculator to be able to determine this. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at L1. So in our list, we have our numbers in our list, so that's L1. And what we want to do is now we're going to scroll to the right and go all the way up to L2. So we're going to go up to L2 and then hit enter. So now we see the blinking cursor down at the bottom. And what we're going to do is we're going to take L1 and then subtract the number that we stored. So we're going to hit second and then the 1 to get L1. And then we're going to subtract. We're going to select this variable because that's X. We use that X to store the mean. So let's hit enter. And we should see the same numbers here. We get 9.1429, negative 4.857, negative 1.857, and so on. So therefore, now we have column 2. Now we want to go to column 3. So we're going to scroll to the right and then go to the top of that. And then we're going to hit enter. So now we have the blinking cursor down here at the bottom. And what we want to do for L3 is we want to take column 2 and then square it. Column 2 is L2. So I'm going to put parentheses. We're going to use the L2 button, second, and then L2. And then we're going to square it, because that's what we want to do, is we want to square those values. So when we square it, then we get 83.592, 23.592, 3.449, and so on. So we're going to get these numbers for this particular column. So now what we want to do is we want to then now be able to then find the variance and the standard deviation. So by doing so, we're going to use our formula. So we're going to get second and then quick because we want to go to the main screen. What we want to do is we want to find the sum of column 3 and divide by 7 minus 1, which is n minus 1. So we're going to hit second and then go to stat, and then we're going to scroll to the right where it says math, and then scroll down to sum, which is number 5. And then we want to place in L3. So we're going to put in L3. And then we're going to divide that by 7 minus 1, which is 6. And so therefore we get 27.48 if we round it to 2 decimal places. So that gives us our variance, and that's years squared. Now if we want to find the standard deviation, we can take the square root of this number. So we can hit second and then the square root symbol. Now we can either type this number in there, or we can just select second answer so that we can then put this number into there. So it's going to be second and then answer, and then put the parentheses and then hit enter, and we can see that we get the standard deviation to be 5.24 years. Now there's a shorter way of being able to get all this information. We don't have to go through this whole step, but we do need to make sure that we know how to access, the calculator to be able to figure this part out. Now let's move on here. Now to check your answers for the standard deviation, we can use the var_stats function on our calculators. The procedure to find the mean or the median using TI-8384 is the following. So what we're going to do is, we already have the number listed in our first column. So we have all the numbers here. So we don't necessarily need to create these columns, but if we look at the first column, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit second quit, and then we're going to go to stat. And then when you select stat, you're going to scroll to the right where it says calculate, and we want to calculate the one variable stats. So we're going to hit enter. And so then we need to select the column that we want, and that column is L1. So I'm going to go ahead and select L1 and then hit enter. Well, if you notice here, you're going to see that we have the mean, which is 22.86. We also have a standard deviation. And then if we scroll down a little further, we can see that we have the median as well. So let's take a look at this information. So if we do one variable stats, we were able to find the mean. So this is the mean, so this is the sample mean. Okay, if you take a look at S subscript X, this is our standard deviation. And this is what we got for our standard deviation. And then what else do we have? We have the median, which was 21. So we can see that it also gives us the median. Okay, so we don't have any information for the mode, so we would have to find the mode. But the other information that we need to find is the variance. And so in order to find the variance, if we know that the standard deviation in our problem is 5.2417736, we want to be able to find the variance by squaring that number. So if we take 5.2417736 and square that, and so let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to plug this number in, so we have 5.2417736, and then we're going to square that. Then it should give us the variance of 27.48. So in order to find the variance, since it's not given in the display, we do have the standard deviation. And if we have the standard deviation, what we can do is we can square that number to then get the variance.